Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. From today onwards, we are going to start 5-day certificate course on blockchain. Myself, Prachi Negi from CA Sansaar. Starting with the first day of course, we have with us our guest speaker, CA Ruchi Maheshwari ji. Ruchi Maheshwari ji is a chartered accountant of 1997 batch with over 22 years of extensive corporate experience in the domain of banking and financial sector. She started her career through campus placement at Unit Trust of India, moving to American Express, where she spent 10 years and grew to the senior leadership level. Her last role was with Royal Bank of Scotland as the Vice President Risk and Compliance. Her experience has been in the fields of project financing, accounting and financial management, internal controls, Sarbanes-Oxley compliance, and operational risk. She has acquired a number of process certification like Six Sigma, IFRS, PCOAB, etc. during her career. She has a flair to explore new technologies and has worked in implementation of robotics within her organization. She has also built a keen interest in blockchain, and as an enthusiast, she is exploring how this can be expanded with the financial world in India. She has also conducted mentoring sessions for grooming talent and also led diversity initiatives within the role she has handled. She is a strong believer of financial independence and focuses on educating people on the same too. She strongly believes that learning is a continuous process which evolves us. So we need to keep learning and sharing. I want to share one thing with you all that if you haven't registered yet, then simply put your name in the comment section and register yourself to get the certificate. We have also with us CA Vivek Khurana ji, founder of CA Sansaar. Now I would request him to give a welcome address.
Thank you very much, Prachi ji. CA Ruchi Maheshwari ji, speaker of this 5 days certificate course on blockchain. Prachi Negi ji, all other respected member of the profession, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you at this 5-day certificate course on blockchain. And first of all, my sincere thanks to CA Ruchi Maheshwari ji for accepting our invitation. And today is the first day. तो शायद एक देवी भवानी से बढ़ के कोई और हो नहीं सकता. So my sincere thanks to you, Ruchi ji, for accepting our invitation and giving your valuable time. And last time we have conducted the webinar on GST, 10-day certificate course on GST. And after that, we have received many requests to organize another certificate course. So I think blockchain, it's the best for this 5-day certificate course, because I know many people are aware about the blockchain, but still now many of our members, they are unable about this new technology. And I think in this 5 days, we will discuss many things regarding what's the blockchain and what's the private blockchain, public blockchain, many other things, and even what's the used finance case, and what's the decentralized system, how to design it, and even also, like, people have the confusion, blockchain is the cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin is the blockchain. So that confusion, we will also remove that confusion also. And even what's the usage in India. Even I was just seeing in Feb 21, Ministry of our Information Technology Ministry, they have also come with the draft issued for the national strategy on the blockchain. So what's the opportunities for we chartered accountants, how we can grab these opportunities. So everything we will discuss. And in next 5 days, we have all renowned faculties. Today is the Ruchi Maheshwari ji. She will guide us regarding the introduction. And tomorrow we have another speaker. And then next day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And Tuesday, I will also guide about the cryptocurrency. What's the cryptocurrency, their types, how it trades, and their taxability in India. So I'm not taking so much time because we have the very less time. So once again, my sincere thanks to Ruchi ji. And now it's over to you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Vivekji. I think it's a great pleasure to be a part of CA Sansaar and be a part of the faculty here. I think it's an opportunity for me also to start the day or start the course session. And I think women are leading, as you know, even Olympics women led by taking the first medal. So I think I'm going to take it in that manner rather than calling myself a Devi, because I think I'm very small in that perspective. So, but really, thanks for it. So guys, I know we have a lot of people here today who are interested to know about blockchain, and especially in finance and then as a CA, it's an important topic that we all understand. And again, during this whole session, the 5 day session, there are many myths that will be kind of busted, because as Vivek Khurana ji said, the first biggest myth that we all have is that Bitcoin and blockchain is one and the same thing. When I started doing or myself reading about it and understanding and then getting and talking to people about it, the first query I would always get in any seminar when I spoke is what कि blockchain क्या है, bitcoin तो है, cryptocurrency तो है. So I was like, okay. So those myths will be busted as you go through the 5 day session. It will be a great pleasure to understand things in detail, and especially जब हम लोग जो सोचते हैं वो जब चीज चेंज हो जाती है या टूट जाती है तो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगता है यार, मतलब यार हम तो क्या सोच रहे थे और क्या निकल के आया, that kind of a feeling I'm sure you will get in the 5 day course. So it's really a pleasure. I'm just going to share my screen and share a presentation, which will just be helpful. Again, I am not going to read through the presentation word to word, but definitely it is something that is a reference which will help everybody kind of go through. And Prati's already introduced me, so I'm not going to spend much time about myself. But yes, my experience or my journey has helped me kind of get on to, the fintech world, as I normally say, because being a finance personal and getting attached to technology, it's a great combination. I feel it's important in today's world, because as we are moving forward towards automation, a finance person needs to understand technology a bit, and the way he or she can use it will definitely be more advantageous for us. So definitely a very, very great topic that CS Ansar has taken over to help all of us get educated on it. And since today is like the first step, you're going to become a certified understanding person on blockchain on the 5th day. So first day, it's going to be like a baby step. It's more going to be your first step towards entering blockchain. So today's session is more about making you aware of what is blockchain, how it started, and if I have to just share, just 1 minute. Is my screen visible? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, fine. So what we're going to cover, as we said, is very basic. What is blockchain? And how did it really evolve? When did it start? Because हम तो इन सब चीजों को आज सुन रहे हैं. So is it very recent development, or is it something coming from the past but it actually got famous only now? That's what we'll understand. Then some of the basics of blockchain, because I'm sure when you go forward in your other sessions, which are starting tomorrow, you will actually get into creating blockchains, understanding how those automations work, decentralized ledgers and stuff. So today we'll just give you the basic foundation, जिससे कल आप आराम से खड़े होके जब आपको कोई और faculty कुछ बता रही है तो आपको समझ में आ रहा है. So it's just the foundation for your learning that is happening today. So again, the biggest question, let's start with, is what is blockchain? So, let me do some simple kind of a thing. Is blockchain, as we can see, it's a word that's derived from 2 words, right? Which is block and chain. So that means that ye jo bhi technology hai, and we all know that it's a technology because we've always been mentioning that word since now. So इसमें क्या है? इसमें blocks हैं और इसमें chain है. यानी कि कुछ blocks को साथ में chain के साथ मिला दिया तो ये बन गया blockchain. But ठीक है, ये chain से मिलाने का क्या मतलब है, right? That's what. So if I have to read out like the definition, if we have to speak out, then the definition will say a blockchain is a time-stamped series of immutable records of data that is managed by a cluster of computers not owned by a single entity. I'm sure ये सबके ऊपर से चला गया होगा, because when I read it first, definitely it just went zwap above my head. But the point is, I need to understand what does it mean. So here the main points that are there in a blockchain is it is time stamped. What does time stamping means is मुझे पता है कि ये entry, because we all understand accounting, right? Her accounting entry, and I'm just taking an example of accounting, but this data could be any data. It could be your birth record data, it could be your results data, it could be your Aadhaar card data, any kind of a data. But what it means is whenever you're creating a record, an entry, or whatever it is time stamped, which means that it will consider that this entry or this record was created on, say, 6th of August at 6:30 p.m. and you cannot change it. It's an immutable record. Immutable मतलब उसको कोई एक बार stamp लग गया, seal लग गई, तो कोई change नहीं कर सकता. There's no change that can be expected out of it after that. Okay, and how it is managed? It is managed by a cluster of computers, not owned by any single entity. What is the other advantage? Is that this data will remain with multiple computers. It will not remain at a single place, which means again it is a decentralized data. Making some sense, and I'm sure a lot of things in the start may not get in place, but yes, as we go forward, it will all fall in place for you. Okay, so what is the block? Block is nothing but each data. So what here it is doing is the blockchain technology ensures that each data is kept separately. It is securely kept because it is time stamped. There is a full security around it, and the way it is kind of connected is through the chain. Or chain is nothing but hash, or hash that we will understand in future, or you can call it as cryptographic principles. Cryptographic principles are nothing but these are codes. These are actually passwords, you can say, or codes that you can say, which actually put them together. So for example, if I have to just put simple information, is that we are three people here in this session. Say for example, Vivek ji, who's the founder, then Prachi, who's the moderator, and me, Ruchi, who is taking the course, or the session lead. And we three have some information. We pool in and put in money together, and we say that okay, I contribute some money, Vivek ji and Prachi contribute some money, and then we say we'll kind of do trading. So what will happen is my information of how much money I contributed will get into one data box, right? That will be one block of information that this day I entered this much money into the business. The next block will be about Vivek ji entering or Prachi entering all of that data, and then that becomes our timestamp. So later on, I cannot change or alter my information, and that will all put together, and that information will be shared with all the people in the network. Now, the network currently will be only the three of us, because three of us are doing business. If this network was bigger, so normally what happens and I'm going to take an example of blockchain normally, because that's how things started, but we'll understand how it is going to go forward. So in a cryptocurrency, when bitcoins or any other digital currency is created, you have a lot of people that kind of work together. Okay, so all of them are part of the network. So all of that data which is put in, before it is put in, that data is recorded, it is sent to all the people, and those people agree and decipher the cryptographic hash, and that hash is then approved by the people in the network. So what indirectly, in short, it means is, for now, as a beginner, you just have to understand that your data is on various blocks, and that blocks are very secure. कोई उस block को change नहीं कर सकता, उसको तोड़ नहीं सकता, और कोई उसको alter नहीं कर सकता, और वो सब एक hash के साथ मिले हुए होते हैं. That's what is the essence of blockchain. Now the next part that comes in is, a lot of people, I think when internet came, people used to get confused with Google and internet. People used to say ki, I have Google, which means I have internet. But that was not the thing. So what people need to know was that Google was only a platform that was able to help you access internet. But Google was not internet. Similarly, blockchain is a technology which is helping to support Bitcoins. But blockchain is not Bitcoin. Blockchain is, it's a technology. It's not a company or an app or, or data in itself. It is something that is helping develop various applications. So there are in today's time various music applications that are run on blockchain. There are various gaming applications that are on blockchain. There are various, you can say, even US actually used their voting system basis blockchain. That was in the recent elections that they did that. So all of that is now what is changing the technology. So again, we need to understand that blockchain is only a technology which is helping us support get into various other factors. It is not everything in itself. And that's like the biggest example that we give is like how Google is not internet. Similarly, blockchain is not Bitcoin. Just to kind of comprehend is it's just that it's just a new way to record transactions. Why it's a new way? Because it gives us more security. And I'm going to emphasize again and again the features of blockchain, which is about the security. That's the biggest thing, because I'm sure in every area the biggest problem was that the data was getting altered. So as chartered accountants, we all know that if we don't close our books of accounts, we can still go back and make an entry into our books of accounts, right? We can change. But if you have a blockchain model of accounting, you can never change your entry. Yes, if you've made a mistake, there is an option to correct the mistake, which means that you will pass a correction entry. Okay, like how I'm sure we all know that if we've passed a wrong entry, erroneous entry, maybe because of the value or because of the name of the person or anything like that, we pass a correction entry, a different ledger used. So what happens is when we correct an entry, it goes back and hits the same box. So if I created a block saying, Ruchi contributed 15,000 rupees, while I had actually contributed 1,50,000 rupees, and it was recorded wrongly as 15,000 rupees, which means that I will have to correct my box. I can't change the box. So again, I can't open that box. And again, when I say open the box, in the sense, I can't change that entry that I had posted for 15,000. I will have to pass a rectification entry with the difference of 1,35,000, and I will have to add it to the same block. In the sense, why I'm adding it to the same block? Because I gave that money on the same date. मैंने अगर 6 अगस्त को 1.5 लाख रुपए दिए थे और एंट्री सिर्फ 15,000 की हुई थी, तो मुझे 6 अगस्त को ही अपने 1,35,000 ऐड करने हैं उसमें. So therefore, I will attach back to the same block, and I will say that now my ledger will show that there was a mistake and we corrected the mistake, and that's why we are adding to this block an additional entry, right? This is the proof, and everybody like an auditor will always know कि हाँ यहाँ correction हुई थी और इसी वजह से ये गलती हुई थी और ये ठीक हुआ था. But I am not altering my original data. So that's like the basic advantage of blockchain that is across. And again, मैं financial examples ले रही हूँ because we're all finance guys here. But this could be for anything. So for example, as we said, the governments have started to use this kind of blockchain for all of their data. So for land records today, governments are using it for birth records, death records, and I'm sure you will be surprised to know that there are many governments in India who have actually started to do that. Internationally, there are already a lot of countries which have moved on to blockchain platforms, but in India also we are not that far behind. We are actually getting into it. Okay. The other thing, as we talked about, is because that data of blocks is available with everybody. There is no one authority that controls the information on your blockchains, right? So it has an advantages. So if I have to take a banking example, आज के दिन जब checks clear होते थे, तो पहले क्या होता था? सारे checks actually clearing house में जाते हैं. Clearing house is they segregate and they kind of pay off and then they get settled. But if there is a blockchain methodology, then you will not need a centralized authority, but the banks will talk themselves, and that will be a huge elimination in the banking industry. And that is what we are expecting in future when things will kind of improve. Okay. As we said, I've already talked about, and so the permanency or the security of data is very, very much there in a blockchain platform, and that is what is beneficial not only to the users, but is also beneficial from a regulatory perspective, because the regulators are definitely looking for authentic data, are looking for data that is not corrupt or that's not altered, and they have confidence within the data. So if there is a technology which already provides you that confidence, then automatically the regulators get more confident on the information received from such platforms. So that's where blockchain is really helping, or maybe kind of creating its space within the world, because otherwise I'm sure you all know there are many technologies that have come and gone, but blockchain is really pulling up, and it's actually gaining importance rather than kind of getting faded off. So that's the advantage that blockchain has. Okay, now let's talk about the history and evolution. Today we are in 2021. Since when did you hear blockchain, if I have to ask you? 2019, 2018, मतलब लास्ट 3 4 5 साल में सुना होगा आपने, right? But is blockchain really only 4 5 years old? You'll be surprised to know that actually blockchain inventions actually started down in 1990s. If we actually get into the roots of the history, you will see that in 1990 there were two guys actually, Stuart Haber and W. Scott Stronach. They actually came up with a blockchain kind of a platform wherein they kind of just saved data. So they had some confidential data of their projects which they didn't want to kind of disclose, and therefore they developed this kind of a technology. But again, because it was very limited usage and they did not share that too much, so it really did not pick up that much of a base. But yes, blockchain is not a new baby, as I say. you know uh, Blockchain is an old baby. It has been existing in this world since the time of 1990s. Yes, but it's actually grown out of bounds, where people are really understanding it and questioning it only in the last couple of years. And the biggest one, where actually it really bloated out, we could say, is 2008, where actually Satoshi Nakamoto, and again, this is not a real name, this is just a pseudo name. And when we say pseudo name, is because nobody knows the real name. That's the pen name that was given to this person when he created a white paper. So I'm sure you all know कि जब कोई अच्छा आप कोई confidential information share करते हो, आप you kind of create a white paper when you present to the government about some innovation and all of that, and that paper was submitted in 2008 by and the pen name used by that person was Satoshi Nakamoto, and that's when actually it gained importance, because that's the time the Bitcoin thing was the first invention. So those the people who wrote the white paper were the ones who actually created this digital currency of Bitcoin. And again, as I've already mentioned, that Bitcoin was just the start. It was just the way where people started to recognize it. Again, because it was a virtual currency, even in India, it has just been legal only in the last couple of months. But otherwise, Bitcoin being a virtual currency was not really accepted. So when Bitcoin really came to life, people said, okay, it's a digital currency, ठीक है, but क्या करें इस currency का? अगर हम उससे कुछ खरीद नहीं सकते हैं, अगर हम उसको spend नहीं कर सकते हैं, what happens to this currency, right? And that's when, to believe and create a confidence in it, a first actual Bitcoin transaction took place in 2010. So, and what was purchased? A pizza was purchased. Again, because it was not an Indian transaction, so Rajma Chawal nahi khareedte. So, because it was a US transaction, it happened to kind of buy pizza there in 2010, and that's where actually it gained importance. It's a digital currency, but it can be used. I still know that there are many, even business guys here in India, in the last 10 years also, if I have to talk about, and who had international operations, they did take cryptocurrency as an acceptable currency for them. And these currencies, as you know, can be traded without any intermediary bank. Your account of your of your cryptocurrency, it could be any currency. Bitcoin is just one of the currencies that is known as. But yeah, that is not kept with any bank. You are just, you know, your ledger, this is what it is, and that ledger is equivalently shared with all the people on that network. Okay. And later on it started gaining more of importance. So I would say actually for the last 10 years or so, so from 2010 onwards, it has started to kind of get into the banking space, and the banking industry was the first industry, I would say, to start really accepting blockchain as an example. The other industry was also the music industry. Again, music industry in terms of saving their records, because when I say records, it's the song records or their albums and stuff is very, very crucial, and that's why they started using it. And over a period, it's evolved, and the biggest thing that actually, two three words that have actually gained a lot of importance from 2010 to now, it's more about smart contracts or hyperledgers that are actually now taking a lot of advantage. And we'll talk about what is smart contracts, what are hyperledgers. We'll understand that. But yes, that was a big space. And if there is not something new coming up, then automatically our startups don't keep themselves behind. They take advantage, and we've seen a lot many startups which are actually using these fintech technologies. And there are startups which have actually grown from just being a startup to unicorns today, and there are new words which are beyond unicorns, which is sunicorns. I'm not sure whether you've heard. So a sunicorn is the fastest, changing over startup which earns into millions and millions. And I'm sure if people are followers of cryptocurrency, they know how cryptocurrency has gone from being just $100 to thousands of dollars and then coming down. So that change and stuff, I'm sure you all have seen. But yes, slowly but consistently, this technology has been growing. It has been growing across industry. It's not limited only to banking or music. As I say, today you can find it in every part of the industry, whether it's a healthcare industry, whether it is, I would say, a supply chain, even education also. We will see examples in as we go forward. Education industry, a lot many places is where which blockchain is increasing. Okay, so that was just the groundwork and the basics to know, because हम सब सोचते हैं यार अभी तो आई होगी technology, but नहीं, actually quite old technology है. But हाँ, usage I would say widely in the last 10 years ज़्यादा हुआ, and I would not really say 10 years. In the last 5 years, it has really expanded into other industries, which was not there earlier. So अब ये तो हो गया पास्ट बैकग्राउंड, कैसे क्या होता है. अब समझते हैं कि एक्चुअली ब्लॉकचेन के बेसिक्स क्या होते हैं. व्हेन आई से ब्लॉकचेन की मतलब एक ब्लॉकचेन बनाने में हमें क्या क्या की जरूरत होती है, कैसे बन सकता है ब्लॉकचेन, क्या डेटा होता है. एंड आई एम श्योर यू हर्ड मी टॉक सो मच. सो अगेन, एज द वर्ड सजेस्ट, ब्लॉकचेन के लिए हमें क्या चाहिए, ब्लॉक चाहिए, चेन चाहिए और नेटवर्क चाहिए जिसपे ये वर्क करेगा, राइट. अगेन, that's what is going to be. So I'm saying about how do we build that. That's what I said. When we build a blockchain, we will talk about a blockchain and a network. But again, if I have to talk what we've already talked about, is some of the basics. Again, is it's a digital ledger, right? इसमें कोई manual data नहीं रहता, इसमें आप कुछ information नहीं रख सकते हो. Everything has to be digital, right? Everything has to be talking between each other. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि like अगर हमने contribute किया, and I'm going to consistently take the same example where we talked about Vivek ji, Prachi and me putting in money. So I'm just going to take the same example. So we'll all know कि कितने पैसे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई third party बाहर को पता होगा कि हम तीनों ने कितने डाले हैं, but हम तीनों को transparency रहेगी कि प्राची ने कितने पैसे डाले, मैंने कितने पैसे डाले और विवेक जी ने कितने पैसे डाले. उसमें हमारे को कोई थर्ड पार्टी नहीं चाहिए. We will talk between ourselves. We will not just be dependent on a single database. So for example, if our business, whatever we've put in, gets very nice, and then Prachi feels, wow, my stake was very less. Yeah, मैं अपना stake बढ़ा लेती हूँ. So I want to contribute more money and I want to get a major stakeholder. So she may buy my share as an example. And when she does that, that will also be a new record, which again will only be done if the three of us agree to it. Right? It can't be कि भाई प्राची ने individually मेरे से अलग से बात कर ली और हम दोनों ने agree करके बेच दिया. Right? It will have to be agreed between the three of us, and Vivek ji will have to agree in terms of the proportion, the value, and the new record will have to get added to our blockchain data. Only then will that be executed. So that's what we need to understand here, that these are digital ledgers. These do not work, we don't need any intermediary, and we need a consensus. Here, what's important, and again, I am talking of a small network, but जब हम Bitcoin networks या cryptocurrency networks की बात करते हैं, या अगर हम अपने आगे जैसे हम देखेंगे, अगर हम finance database की बात देखते हैं, तो we'll have bigger networks wherein you will need a consensus of at least 50%, 75% of the people on it. And again, it depends what is the percentage you're keeping. You could also keep 100% kind of a consensus, but normally in a bigger kind of network, we normally go with around 75 to 80% of consensus. Again, depends on what type of data it is. uh, Again, these cryptographic knowledge is important, and how to kind of it's more like a puzzle. If I have to say, cryptographic hash is nothing but a code which is not easy. So if you have children or you yourself have done puzzles, आपको पता है जब आप puzzle solve करते हो तो आपके पास एक picture होता है जिसको आपको match करके एक दूसरा puzzle बनाना होता है. So cryptographic hash is also similar, where you're given hints and you have to decipher and create the code or the hash. Once you've cracked the hash, that's when you can go in and give your approval. Right? That's how it works. So, and again, those kind of people who do the hashing, or solving of the hash, are called as the miners, because they actually we call it as mining of data. जैसे कोयले में से वो निकालते ना diamonds. So where are diamonds found? Diamonds are found in mines. And who finds them? Miners. So what we are trying and saying is that even these kind of data is, what is it? It's found by the miners. So people who can really solve that kind of a problem are the people who are capable to link the data records, and that's why they're called miners here. So I've just shown a figure of a traditional database and a blockchain database. I'm sure we all know the traditional database, where we need people to kind of store all of the data in a centralized place, and again, there's not no much of clarity of information between people who are using it. Sometimes we even don't know if a data is tampered जब तक हम report नहीं निकालते. जैसे अगर किसी ने पुराने डेटा में टैम्पर कर दिया, तो जब तक आप अपना ट्रायल नहीं निकालोगे, आपको पता नहीं होगा कि बैलेंस में कहाँ चेंज हुआ है. Right? But here nobody can change your data because it will have to be agreed and solved. So this is like the big difference between a traditional database and a blockchain database. So, and again, now let's come on to how do we build a blockchain, right? So as we said, a blockchain and a network. It doesn't mean that we take the Lego blocks and a chain and we kind of create that. It is more on the system that we do it. So it's a as I've been continuously mentioning the same thing, that इसमें हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हमें records चाहिए, उसमें हमें data capability चाहिए, जहाँ पर हम उनको solve करके उस data को encrypt करके हम एक साथ उनको bind कर दें through a hash. Again, that hash is not something that will be openly told. It's not like just a Chinese whispers hote hain na. I'm sure you'll have heard and played the game of Chinese whispers. So you can't give the hash by whispering it or spreading it across, because the hash that I may get versus the hash the other person may get is totally different, but again it will authenticate to the data. So if I have to tell you in a different manner, in a very simple manner, it's more like हर ट्रांजैक्शन की एक चाबी होती है, उस चाबी के you know multiple you can say is, it's a digital tali, chabi, sorry. When it's a digital chabi, in the sense that so somebody may we will have 10 or 15 passwords. I'm just taking an example. We may have 10 or 15 passwords that we may have created, and people on the network differently will have these passwords. So when they mine that password, and they match with any of these passwords, then they'll be able to open the record and add that to the chain. Okay, that's how it works. So suppose किसी के पास हो सकता है 1234, किसी के पास हो सकता है 9876, and this is very simple. ऐसा नहीं होता. It would have asterisks, tags, dollars. It would have words. It could be an alphanumeric character, whatever it is. That's how it will kind of come together. So that's the hash characteristic. And definitely network. अब आप कोई भी डेटा रिकॉर्ड बनाओगे तो किसी नेटवर्क के ऊपर बनाओगे, राइट? व्हेन आई से नेटवर्क, इट्स बेसिकली you need, so if I have to take a example of a banking system, all your branches as an example in the banking system becomes the nodes, right? So a branch in say Southex versus a branch in Connaught Place versus a branch somewhere in Mumbai, they will all be your network nodes. So it's a bigger, so if the bank is CA Sansaar Bank Limited, then the bank will have various nodes, which will be a Connaught Place node, a Southex node, a Mumbai node, a Chennai node, whatever, and they will interact together, and the data on it will be all the banking information that's there, which have been transacted. It could be foreign exchange data, it could be savings bank data, it could be card data, number of cards issued, and all of that. So that's what will come within the network. I hope it's clear, because these are some of the basic elements, and it's good to know, but it's a lot of theoretical knowledge, which will definitely help you as you go forward within your certification course. Okay, now let's talk about the 4 elements that characterize a blockchain. Okay, and ये जो हम पढ़ेंगे चीजें, it is going to be similar to what you've heard earlier, right? So again, replicated ledgers, cryptography, consensus, business logic, ये सब elements हैं. मतलब ये हमें कोई भी blockchain बनाने के लिए पहले हमें ये सब समझना पड़ेगा, right? When I say समझना पड़ेगा, in the sense, can you create any accounting data? Say for example, if I have to just simply ask you, if, as I've been giving the example of V3 putting in money, or you get a new client who's just started a business, right? And आपको बोला जाता है कि आप उसकी accounting संभालोगे, तो आप सबसे पहले क्या पूछोगे उससे कि भाई आप क्या बिजनेस करते हो, राइट? व्हाट इज द वर्क दैट यू डू, व्हाट इज द ट्रेड, आर यू अ मैन्युफैक्चरर, आर यू अ ट्रेडर, आर यू अ सर्विस गाय? यू विल ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड हिज बिजनेस, because based on his business you will know what kind of accounting standard may apply to him or her, what kind of regulations may apply to him, what kind of an accounting will it be. If it's a non-profit organization, your accounting will be for a non-profitable accounting. While it's a profitable accounting, then you will have different type of ledgers in it. So the business knowledge or business logic is very, very important. Why? Because again, in a blockchain, you will need to know कि भाई हम किस चीज की blockchain बना रहे हैं, right? कि are we making a blockchain of financial data? Are we making a a blockchain only for a part? Because in today's time, if I have to talk, a lot of businesses which are established businesses, and let me take an example of PepsiCo as an example. PepsiCo is one of the largest companies across the world, and it has adopted blockchain, but it has not adopted blockchain holistically. It has only adopted blockchain in part. Say for example, it has for their bottling plants, because they would see a lot of loss there, they've incorporated blockchain within that. A lot of companies have incorporated blockchain in their supply chain management processes. They haven't applied it in your financial data, but they have applied it into the other business data. So जब आप कोई भी ब्लॉकचेन बनाओ आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि भाई मैं किसके लिए बना रहा हूँ, राइट? वो लेजर उसी हिसाब से बनेगा ना, राइट? आपके रूल्स क्या होंगे उस ब्लॉकचेन लेजर के, दैट विल बी बेस्ड ऑन द बिजनेस लॉजिक. सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग अ बिजनेस लॉजिक इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, right? And then you need to understand that how will this ledger be replicated, right? When I say replicated, आपको कितने nodes पे replicate करना है उसको, because as we said, this data of blockchain is available with people across, right? When I say people across, आपकी सारी branches में same data होगा, आपके regional offices में same data होगा, because that data cannot be altered, right? You will have to replicate the same ledger, and that is why it is called replicated ledger or distributed ledger. That is because it's distributed. The same data is replicated, distributed to all the people on the blockchain, right? And we've already talked about cryptocurrency, but again, the only change here is based on the type of blockchain you're implementing. You will need to know whether these blockchains, all of them need permission. What level of permission do you need? There could be some records that you will say, "Acha, theek hai, without permission bhi ye add ho sakte hain," because they are important for me to capture, but they don't need approvals, right? Some may need permissions or approvals. Some may need, minimum percentage, as I said, कि इतना permission at least 75% लोगों को agree करना चाहिए, तभी वो transaction record होगी. All of that data is what you need to understand and then develop the blockchain. Again, consensus we've already talked about, so we're not doing it. When I say not doing it, I'm not repeating it. But here, the most important is the consensus comes from the miners. The miners are the persons who validate that transaction and then record it in the distributed ledger, which is across with a lot of other people. Okay. Moving on, when we've created, अब आप कोई भी system बनाते हो तो आप rights देते हो. आपको समझ में आना चाहिए कि किस किस type के participants होते हैं हमारे blockchain में. So definitely अगर blockchain बनाइए तो blockchain user तो होगा. Blockchain user is nothing but anybody who is part of that network becomes your user, right? You will have multiple users जिनको आपने access दे रखा है. A point is access, and this, let me take that example of if I have to talk about a bank, right? Your blockchain users could be anybody who is dealing either with a customer or maybe dealing with a corporate, anybody. So जितने भी banking staff होते हैं आप उनको सबको blockchain users बना सकते हो. But again, they may just be able to do data entry, but they may not be able to put that into the network till the time it is approved by either the certificate authority or the regulator. So a regulator is the approver, you can say. जैसे हमारे अगर हम journals जब pass करते हैं accounting में, and in banks in today's time also in Finacle or the other systems that the bank use, you have approval levels, right? Even after consolidating the whole day's transaction, everything gets back and then a senior approves it and then processes it and all of that. So this is what the regulator does. So he may review transactions and approve that. Blockchain developer is basically the programmer who's helping you do this, and if you need any changes, then he will be the person who will help you. Again, blockchain network operator is basically the person who's actually defining it. Like it could be the management who's really who's actually giving it, or maybe the senior person who's actually getting it incorporated within your business. And certificate authority is basically nothing but the person who is, it is not necessarily one person, depending on the size of your blockchain, the organization where you're implementing. It could be multiple peoples depending on their designations and stuff, right? So these are some of the things that you will need to think about कि अच्छा मैं blockchain डाल रहा हूँ तो मेरा user कौन होता है, मेरा approver कौन होगा, मैं उसको कैसे develop करूँगा, law authority levels क्या दूँगा, all of that is what I will need to kind of agree upon while I'm doing it. Okay, now let's come on to how does this blockchain really work, and let's take this example wherein we are talking about A wanting to send money to B. So you know, A सोचता है कि मुझे B को पैसे भेजने हैं, and this is just a pictorial definition so that you all really understand कि हम तब से बात तो कर रहे हैं कि blockchain होगी, ये होगी. अब A ने अपने अकाउंट से बोला कि B को पैसे देने हैं. अब B हमने उसमें डाल दिए, say for example 1.5 लाख रुपए मैंने उसमें कर लिए और मैंने बोला now transfer it to you know this unit. Now the point is that information will become a block in my data, but that will not get added to my blockchain till the time this information goes to everybody in the network. So, you know, so now if I am talking about and I'm taking the same example जहाँ पर 3 लोग ही थे हम लोग नेटवर्क में. अब सपोज मेरा मन करा कि you know or let me do it the other way where Vivek ji is very happy with my presentation today and he feels wow Ruchi's done a great job, let me just give her you know a good you know note of appreciation and let me send her you know some money, and that's where he just decides that and he sends that transaction online as a block, but he puts in a password. He says I will only be able to give Ruchi that money till the time Prachi agrees. You know, I may have agreed because my network is only of 3 people, which is Prachi, Vivekji, and me. So Prachi may not have liked my presentation, so it's up to her to decide. And again, मैं ये बहुत मतलब normal impersonal way से बोल रही हूँ in the sense, but वो जो चाबी है, this is actually defined or that information is crypted if I have to talk. So that information gets crypted and that information goes out to everybody on the network and every party gets to know that okay, Vivekji is wanting to transfer some money to Ruchi. Now the point is all people will kind of then decrypt that information. Okay, so they will mine, they will kind of create the necessary hashes and cipher it, and then they will say okay, agree, we all agree ki yes. So if I have to put it in different words, all of you will be asked for a feedback. If you all say very good, Ruchi was a great performer, she's done a great session, then it'll all be agreed, and then that money will get will flow to me, which means a block of that data will get added to the blockchain and the money will then get transacted. Okay, so अभी इसमें जो मैंने बोला कि approval या feedback, वो इस केस में approval feedback है because there is no monetary aspect, but otherwise a block of data is only approved when everybody solves the you know decrypted information. So encrypting होती है उस data की and फिर वो blockchain में add होता है, and once it's added everybody knows how this transaction was there because we all approved that information. So everybody on the block knows that ये नया transaction हुआ है and then the money gets transferred. Right? Clear? Okay, so now we've talked about this. हम इतनी देर से ब्लॉकचेन के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ बोल रहे हैं कि ये ऐसा होता है वैसा होता है, बट मुझे एक बात बताओ, एंड ऑफ द डे ब्लॉकचेन का फायदा क्या है? What is the benefit? I'm sure a couple of you may be still you know speaking out the benefits because I've been repeating a couple of words multiple times, and that's what actually is making blockchain famous or blockchain acceptable. I did mention that earlier. So what's required in this blockchain or what is beneficial in this blockchain is that there is trust, there is transparency, there is security, and there is efficiency. Okay, ये words तो हो गए. Transparency, can I see through the transaction? No. But how it's transparent? Because everybody knows. Like how we took in this example, if I am transferring any money or anybody is doing any transaction, till everybody on the network don't approve it, it will not go through, which means there is transparency. There's nothing hidden within the network. Everybody within the network knows what's happening. So that's transparency. Nothing can be done under the table here in this kind of a blockchain transaction, right? What is security? Again, it is time stamped. जब भी कोई transaction होगी, वो time stamped ही होगी. वो secure होगी. Again, hashtags होते हैं, right? And we are solving them. So therefore, there is security. It can't be, you know, I can't cheat from anywhere. I can't copy that hashtag. I have to decrypt it myself. अगर मैं decrypt नहीं करूँगी तो वो नहीं होगा. So that security comes in. efficiency. Why? Because it's all open, and it may sound as if solve karna hai, decrypt karna hai, lamba time lagega, but no, it's not like that. Actually, all of this happens. The miners actually take seconds to do it. And when you kind of go forward in your second day or a third day session, when you're going to talk about decentralized ledgers and automations especially, you will see that how minuscule the time is. Actually it just takes milliseconds to actually decipher or decrypt the data. And therefore there's again, the other part of the efficiency side, if I have to talk about, is nothing but removal of any centralized authority. Like as I took the example of the banking data, where everything used to go to a centralized place for check clearing, और फिर वहां से settle होते थे, तो उसमें बहुत time लगता था. अब क्या है, direct हो जाएगा, तो automatically there is efficiency. So some money that I used to maybe get in like 4 days or so, today I can get it in a single day, or maybe and it's happening, right? A lot of technology is now changing. Trust. Why trust? Why trust? Because we know everybody on the network. We can't let people in the network till the time they've been introduced. If we are expanding a network to, so maybe today आज हमारे पास 3 ही लोग हैं हमारे network में, जो मैं example लेके चल रही हूँ, उसमें अगर मुझे और लोगों को add करना है, then I have to get that agreement. I have to understand and believe and tell people कि हाँ ये इसलिए हम add कर रहे हैं, ये हो रहा है. So there is trust. And two-way. So new people will also know existing members कौन है, वो है, मतलब उनको वो कैसे जानते हैं, क्या होता है. So that trust automatically builds it. And these are all kind of commingled. Nothing is standalone. So ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ ट्रांसपेरेंसी रह सकती है, सिक्योरिटी की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज सिक्योरिटी एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी साथ में चलते हैं. In the sense, security है इसीलिए transparency है, and all of that. So these are actually the main benefits, and I'm sure when you're seeing this, you can also understand that why the regulators also like it, because the regulator knows कि भाई अगर इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ होती है तो one, there can't be any fault within this, because this is something which is such a secure platform that's being used. Right, the technology itself is so secure that nothing will happen. And when you're and that's the comfort that you get as an auditor also. If you're auditing as an employee, you know that okay, if you've done a fault, you can't change the records, you have to go back and do it, which means your error will be caught, but that's fine, you can improve it. Right, so nothing can go unnoticed is what I need to say. So these are like the other benefits coming out of the same thing is that because of this data integrity, the frauds have reduced. Right, I'm sure if you have ever made some kind of a research on bitcoins and stuff, you would never have heard anything major going wrong in bitcoins. Right, when I say bitcoins, anything major in the sense a big fraud in bitcoins, where there will be small instances, nothing's totally 100%, but again very very minimal. Right, and again here, because when you're trading within your network, you know the other counterparty, so there is no third party risk also here, because your third party will also need to be on the network. So it's not that कि कहीं ब्लाइंड स्पॉट है आपका, कि आपको पता ही नहीं कि यार मेरा डेटा कहाँ चला जाएगा या मेरा मनी कहाँ चला जाएगा, वेयर विल माय थिंग्स गो. And definitely when you are reducing costs at one point in time, you will see efficiency and you will see savings. Right, yes, maybe the installation of blockchain may require initial expenditure, but in the long run this kind of thing will definitely give you benefits and cost savings. So these are some of the benefits of blockchain which are actually attracting organizations, attracting industries, and even imagine अगर governments सोच रही हैं इसको use करने के, which means that there's a lot of value within this kind of a platform which is there. Again, हर चीज के साथ as I say, there are two sides of the same coin. is कि अगर कुछ अच्छा है तो कुछ risk भी हो सकता है, but वो risk is not in the technology, the risk is about adopting it. For example, if you're running your business for the last 50 years and you're being asked to change your technology, right? Just because this, this technology is path breaking, it has a, it's a great innovation within the field of technology, बहुत कुछ अच्छा लग रहा है, तो just because कि सब कुछ अच्छा है, will you adopt it? you know no, right? You will first evaluate, अच्छा कि मैं इस चीज को adopt करूंगा तो मेरे को what's my cost benefit analysis, right? So the various risks that normally people see in adopting blockchain is about biggest thing is about change management, right? In today's time, for us, like, earlier I used to be a very good फैन, बचपन से मुझे जैसे पढ़ाया गया था, इफ आई हैव टू टॉक अबाउट, देन आई वाज टॉट अबाउट कि भाई हर चीज को ना लिख के याद करो, राइट? बट क्या हमारे बच्चे आज के दिन लिख के याद करते हैं? नहीं करते, राइट? दैट्स द चेंज दैट्स हैपेंड ओवर द पीरियड. बट इफ आई एम आस्क्ड टुडे आल्सो to kind of learn something, maybe I may write it because that's the way I've got it. मुझे बचपन से यही बड़ा करा है कि भाई पहले लिख लो, 2 बार लिख लोगे तो अपने आप दिमाग में जाएगा. That's the way, and everybody may have a different way of doing things. So when you're changing a technology, definitely there is a behavior change that's required. There is for example, mobiles as an example. When we got used to mobiles, it was difficult for us to get used to mobiles, right? And I'm sure our parents or our elders are still not comfortable with mobiles. But if you take even a 2-year-old child, will be very happy and very easy to use a mobile. Why? Because he's seeing that, he or she is seeing that and kind of adopting it together. But yes, for organizations which are like, say, years old, may think that whether it's really required for them to kind of move on to something like this, whether it is really beneficial. So one is about the behavior change. The other is about the thought whether my old data will really move on to this or not. So if we can say it's in other words, it's also called bootstrapping, wherein my old data needs to kind of move on to the new platform. And am I ready? Is my volume too high? Is my will that make kind of a lot of significant issue? कहीं मैं reconciliation ही तो नहीं करता रह जाऊंगा कि भाई पुराने में तो ये था, नए में तो ये आया नहीं, कहाँ गया डेटा, और मेरा टाइम और मेरे एम्प्लॉइज का टाइम उसी में वेस्ट हो गया. So these kind of risks are definitely there in blockchain, in terms of adapting, scaling, regulations. So for example, if I have to talk about, everybody wanted to invest in cryptocurrency in India, right? But it was not legal because the government didn't think it was right. There was a time where even our finance minister was wanting to launch our own cryptocurrency by the name Lakshmi. I'm sure if you've read that. तो हम खुद भी लॉन्च करने वाले थे, बट अभी तक लॉन्च नहीं हुई है. बट yes, at least we've moved forward in terms of bringing in legality to it, right? We are still a way in terms of putting guidelines to it, right? And therefore नई कोई नया कुछ भी आता है, कोई नया प्रोसेस आता है, तो हम सोचते हैं कि भाई इसका लॉ क्या होगा, इसका एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी क्या होगा. पता चला आई एम द फर्स्ट मूवर, मैंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया अपनी इंडस्ट्री में, बट आगे किसी ने एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया. देन हाउ विल वी टॉक, व्हाट विल बी माय MIS सिस्टम, will there be any kind of a challenge that I will have? So these are some of the concerns that people really think about, and scale is the biggest thing that actually troubles people before they think of adapting it. A smaller organization may be easy to adapt it, but again, a bigger organization may think about it because, and as I said, a lot of organizations are not adopting blockchain across the organization. They are adopting it in bits and pieces. So किसी प्रोसेस में अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं, किसी में नहीं अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं, किसी में वो अपने पुराने वे से चल रहे हैं. So all of that is what is happening and they are going about. But yes, blockchain definitely is a technology which has a lot of positives, and depending on your CBA for it, you kind of go through and implement. Okay, that's on again. Now we've talked about, ठीक है, ब्लॉकचेन है, सब जगह है, बट अब ये यूज कहाँ होता है? ठीक है, मैंने ब्लॉकचेन का समझ लिया, बट अब इसको यूज कहाँ करूँ? या मैं अगर ऑडिट पे जाऊंगा तो मुझे कहाँ दिखेगा, कौन सी इंडस्ट्री में दिखेगा? So I think I've been mentioning that earlier also, that the blockchain is used across, right? It can be used in the banking, clearing and settlement systems. It can be used in stock markets. I'm not sure whether you've heard that or you've read it. The Australian stock market is fully using blockchain technology. Okay, the whole stock market's out there, so there is potential there. To use it for your inter-organizational data management. That's where you can use it. For regulatory compliances, you can use it. Smart contracting, you can use it. Digital identity, you can use it. When I say digital identity, it could be like आधार जैसे हम बोलते हैं, उसमें यूज हो सकता है. यूएस में सोशल सिक्योरिटी नंबर होता है, उसमें यूज हो सकता है. There are people who are trying to work upon a single identity for across the world. Why limit ourselves to country today? Because we are people of the world. So there are organizations that are trying to create digital identity for people across the world. So blockchain can be used there. A lot many other things can use blockchain. Health database can be used in blockchain. You don't have to go to a doctor. Your data, your health record will automatically reach the doctor if you're not well. In today's time हम वीडियो कंसल्टिंग्स करते हैं, राइट? अब हमें वीडियो कंसल्टिंग जब हम करते हैं, हमें डॉक्टर को सब कुछ बताना पड़ता है कि मेरी पास्ट हिस्ट्री ऐसी थी, वो थी, ये थी. बट अगर ब्लॉकचेन यूज हो जाएगा, तो आप उसको अपने नेटवर्क में ऐड कर सकते हो उस डॉक्टर को, एंड देन द डॉक्टर कैन एक्सेस योर होल ऑफ योर हेल्थ रिकॉर्ड. In the sense, if you've had any kind of allergies, if you had any kind of operations, if you had any kind of, what are the medicines that you're taking, everything is what the doctor can see if all the health records are on that are on the blockchain system. The other very, very good use that's happening in India also is for land records, or you can say asset ownership जैसे बोलते हैं, because सबसे ज़्यादा problem होती है land की ownership में. I'm sure गांव में, well, I'm sure bigger centers there may be less of challenges, but in smaller areas, smaller places, the you've bought a property, but you've not looked at that property maybe for like last 10 years. अब 10 साल बाद जाओगे तो पता चला वो नाम पे ही नहीं है आपकी, किसी और ने अपने नाम पे करा ली, because back end systems and stuff. But if that data is on blockchain, nothing will be changed till the time you've been intimated or you've been kept in loop about it. Or you can also go and search. अगर आप एक ट्रेड करने वाले हो, आप कोई प्रॉपर्टी खरीदने वाले हो, तो आप उस पे डेटाबेस में जाके देख सकते हो कि ये ओनरशिप किसकी थी. जो आपको बेच रहा है, डज ही हैव राइट्स टू सेल इट आल्सो और नॉट, राइट? एंड दैट्स वेयर things of open block, the public blockchains and private blockchains come in. Some of the blockchains are actually very private because the data is too confidential and it is not shared with public. But in cases where government is actually having these blockchains, they have made it public. And again, they've made it public for all of the people to see it, but you can't edit or change that record. That edit and changing access is kept with the government's authorities only. But yes, that is where the rules of public and private blockchains do come in. Okay, so let me give you some examples of blockchain, and maybe I'll try and show you a quick video. Just a minute. It's been too much of my talking, so I thought I should share my screen and share a small video which will help you guys to understand it better, and you will know how things work in practical instances. Okay, so sorry, just give me a minute here. I will be able to see that. Sorry for this break, but I'm sure it's relaxation for you guys because you've been hearing me a lot at the moment. Just give me a minute. I will open this and I'll show you. I'm going to share this now. Let me know if you have. Can you see my? Is this visible?
No, ma'am. Just a minute. Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible. It shows a video. So I'm going to just play this video for 2 minutes so that everybody can share it. Prachi, if it's not visible audio or something, let me know. Okay.
Okay. There's no audio from this video.
There is no audio.
No.
Okay. So let me stop this and do it again, maybe. Okay. I think now it should come. Is it visible now? Audible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Voice is not there, Ruchi ji. रुचि जी वॉइस नहीं आ रही.
You still can't hear the voice?
There's no voice
No.
from this video.
Oh, that's surprising. Okay. I did share that. Not sure. Okay, so let's not get into that. Maybe I'll just share my chat again. In this, the video it was just showing us. Let me share back my deck with you guys. Let's move back to our deck. So here in that video, I was just showing you an example where a lot of applications were used. So that video showed about how healthcare industry and travel industry is using it. So that video actually showed that one person had booked his flight for tomorrow. To go out, but in the morning when he gets up, he's down with fever and he's not able to catch his flight. So he once he's down with fever, he cancels his flight. And because all the information is on blockchain, immediately when he cancels the flight because of health reasons, the notification goes to the health department, and the health department calls him back, and the doctor actually gives him consultation saying that you're not well, and based on your record, this is what we feel, and they do a video consulting with him, and he is delivered medicines, directly on at his home store. So that's the benefit that blockchains can have. It is actually being used in today's time. Blockchain is also being used by insurance companies, as an example, to check whether your authenticity of in information or a claim that you've submitted, is that right or not. It is being used by supply chain management to know where uh, how to source information, to kind of take tenders, to kind of provide contracts, to know where the goods are within the chain while they're out for delivery. It also is stopping counterfeits. The reason how it is stopping counterfeits is the barcodes. I'm sure you see the barcodes on products. If these barcodes are through the blockchain process, you know if this product is original or not. So, for example, the beer industry, or I would say distillery companies, have used blockchain, and from there when you scan the bar, you know that from where actually the product or the input came from. So which country the input came from, where was it actually distilled, and where was it packaged, and where was it distributed from. So that kind of a detail is available in supply chain management. um, I talked
Ruchi ji,
about yeah.
Ruchi ji, can you do in full mode? Full mode. PPT in full mode.
I thought this was full mode. It stopped sharing 1 minute. Earlier it was full mode, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
In between it got lost to came to normal one. This is full mode now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, fine. Fine. So as I talked about education industry, a lot of international universities are actually using blockchain, where they kind of ask for applications, test scores, college evaluations, and even scholarships and everything being done through the blockchain process. Why it's important is so that nobody alters anything out there, because they get so many applications. Sometimes people used to kind of, same person would kind of put in two applications with some different data, and then they would spend time. So once you've kind of submitted your applications, you can't make a change unless and until you've notified to the university, and that is actually reducing a lot of work for the universities. Test scores, so for example, if it's a GRE or GMAT score, then you don't have to submit separate data. Your credentials is what they will pull directly from the source, so which means that you're not altering or you're not making any changes to it. And once you have the score, your application, then they can see which are the colleges that you're eligible to. You can make an evaluation, and if you're looking for any kind of a scholarship or a loan, then you can actually have a uh, system built within the blockchain, wherein you can take that loan from that same space. Now, so you can have your bankers associated in the network. That's what the colleges are doing or universities are doing internationally, which actually is helping them a lot. And in terms of the payment process also, it becomes easier because you know whether that's true or not. Also, this is also being used to kind of issue of degrees, that it's reaching to the right person. Nobody's actually you know making wrong usage of it, and it is authenticated and no duplication being done. So this is also, and as I've been talking about, I think since the start of this lecture, that this is actually, blockchain is being used across in various industries. So it's being used in manufacturing industries, retail industries, insurance, banking, stock markets, government, health, across everything. It could be for your fixed asset tracking, you can use it. One very big thing that's being used is smart contracts, and I'm just going to touch upon smart contracts here, because that's very important. I'm sure if you've been dealing with organizations, maybe some of your organizations may have implemented smart contracts. And smart contracts is nothing, as the word suggests. Whenever we take on a third party, or let me say, let me take an example of, say, for example, a company like LG, or any of these fast moving goods, consumer goods kind of a company, wherein they sell TVs or fridges or ACs. So they kind of contract, or they give their franchise stores, right? Now every franchise stores, um, sells products for them, and then they are giving commission based on the sales that they've made. So what happens is, if you've done smart contracting as an example, so maybe you have a bracket, say ek se up to 10 lakh rupees if you sell products of LG. If you have a franchisee and you sell products of say 10 lakh rupees, and उसमें से अगर 50% ACs हैं तो आपके इतना percentage of commission होना चाहिए, say for example 5% commission होना चाहिए. But if you get from a 10 lakh to a 50 lakh bracket as an example, then your commission will go up from 10%, 5% to 15% as an example. So it's very difficult to keep tracking ki kab hua, because you may move the chain. I mean, say move from 10 lakhs to 11 lakhs or 12 lakhs. So you may go into the next bracket in the middle of the month, and that may be very difficult at times to calculate. So what happens, or the other thing is that your contract has got over and it's not been renewed, and that's why your sales during that period will take longer to kind of get in, added, and then getting your commissions and all of that. But if you've done smart contracting, those contracts actually get fed into the blockchain system, and when things get triggered, so when you reach a particular standpoint, so for example, if I am the franchisee, I've entered that आज मेरी 10 लाख हो गई, payment. So कल जब मेरा पे आउट होगा नेक्स्ट, द स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विल ऑटोमेटिकली कैलकुलेट कि 15 दिन की ओल्ड रेट पे होगी, यानी कि लेसर रेट पे होगी, एंड 15 दिन की हायर ब्रैकेट पे होगी, because that's what it's inbuilt to do it. Again, in terms of signing off your contracts, the smart contracting system automatically sends the notification to the company and to the party saying that your contract is due for renewal. These are the steps that you have to fill in. So it's not that you have to actually physically go and do it, but yes, in the system itself, in the network itself, if you kind of give all the relevant documentations, then your contract gets renewed and the system automatically accepts it. So you have to define it, but yes, it's a very, very big boom in terms of managing your third parties, which normally used to be a big pain for people. So a lot of places where too much of paperwork and contracts are required, especially supply chain management, that's where this comes in, and again it helps bring in transparency. मैं अलग अलग अगर मुझे say for example मेरे में और किसी और में differentiate भी करना है, then it's clearly there that okay, I'm differentiating because maybe one of my franchisee is in a bigger state or maybe a metro state, while a non-metro state gets lesser percentage, or vice versa, whatever, then it's very clearly there in the terms and conditions. So that is a very big thing that's really picked up in today's time. And as I've been kind of calling out in numerous times, is that the governments are picking up. They are actually putting in their and there are governments in India. So for example, the West Bengal government has actually taken all the birth records, moved on to blockchain already. So death records and birth records, so that's the authenticity. If people have seen the movie Kagas that got recently released, that a person, and I think earlier it used to happen कि बंदा जिंदा होता था but on paper मर जाता था, that's the kind of a story. So if you have blockchain, then that can never happen. If you are alive, you are alive, because that's what the data is saying. So no words about it. Just a small example, don't take it with, I just could correlate with that, so I just mentioned that. अब हमने इतना सब तो पढ़ लिया, अब आप ये बोलोगे ये टेक्नोलॉजी है, but ये टेक्नोलॉजी how do I understand कि कोई प्लेटफॉर्म कौन सा है, मतलब if I have to understand in a simple language कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म्स को मैं समझ सकती हूँ कि ये ब्लॉकचेन है, या कौन सी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज यूज हो सकती है, बिकॉज ब्लॉकचेन की खुद की लैंग्वेज है, या does it use normal language, what is it that is there, because I'm sure we've all heard of various languages, but blockchain की कौन सी language है. So it's important to understand that. So a lot of these platforms are all created using languages, and the biggest player, I would say, or biggest person in terms of developing blockchain is IBM. IBM has actually created a big research center on creating these blockchain platforms. It's one of the biggest, I would say, research ground for developers, and it has been actually in the last couple of years, it's really enhanced that technology. So if I have to talk of blockchain, um, platforms, if you've heard about Ethereum, I'm sure everybody's heard about Ethereum. That's because that's the biggest platform in today's world for cryptocurrency. So everybody's heard about that. Hyperledger is another example. IBM blockchain, as I said, because IBM is the biggest researcher, so it's created its own blockchain platform. Again, these the Texos, multi-chain, there are there are at least 20, 30, and even more platforms. But 20, 30 are something which people can talk about who are into blockchain. So they will know of those. I've just picked up small five top ones here, and these platforms help you to develop your your own blockchain, whether you want to make it a closed source, open source blockchain, whether it is for any industry that you have to use, you will be allowed to do it. You can create your applications on these platforms. You can create a lot many stuff. So a lot of Indian fintechs are also having a lot of apps around smart contracting. Individual, they've created individual what to say modules that you can attach to your existing platforms and implement blockchain. Languages, yes, these are actually using C++ and Python. I'm sure JavaScript are three names that people have otherwise also known. But yeah, Solidity and Golang is some of the new languages which are now picking up, and especially for blockchain, these are picking up. So these are some of the things that you will hear in terms of name as you go in. Now the key word is कि ठीक है सब कुछ हो रहा है. I am not a person. I am a person from finance sector, but मेरे लिए क्या चेंज है? ठीक है सब कुछ है, but मेरे को कैसे इम्पैक्ट करेगा? मैं ब्लॉकचेन क्यों समझूं, राइट? मुझे क्यों समझना चाहिए? So there are 2-3 ways to look at it. So what's really the role that you play as a financial person or in the financial sector? What is it that you play? That's how you will need to assess your impact. So if you're an auditor, right, which means you can be an auditor for any sector. You will not be only limited to an auditor of the banking sector. राइट. सो आपको ब्लॉकचेन इसलिए समझना है कि अगर आप किसी जगह गए और वहां पर ब्लॉकचेन है, तो आपको ये समझना है व्हाट काइंड ऑफ evidences you will get, or data records you will get, and how much should you drill down. Because if blockchain is a platform which is ensuring transparency, which is ensuring safety, security, and all of that, then is it really worth spending a lot of man hours into that kind? You may want to kind of channelize your resources as an auditor into areas which are more manual driven, where you don't have these kind of technologies, right? Yes, it doesn't mean कि blockchain हो गया तो audit ही नहीं होगा. Audit होगा, definitely आप check करोगे, आप controls check करोगे, आप actually blockchain की write up check करोगे कि कैसे लिखा है, क्या लिखा है, does it really cover the points that you're looking at, right? That's one thing. The other thing you will need to understand is, because it is blockchain, it will impact the way you're doing, right? Your own working. A lot of things will change. Where I say change in the sense, your banking will change. Even if you're not in the banking sector, but you're still using the banking, for your usage, तो वो methods change हो सकते हैं, right? The way digital identity is being done, that will change. So बहुत चीजें आपके आसपास में change होंगी, पर आपको यही समझना है कि आपको किस वे से change impact करें. As an employee impact कर रही है blockchain. So if you're an employee in an organization, and that organization is implementing blockchain, then your impact will be different, because now your record keeping method may change. right? Your journal entry methods may change, right? Your looking at reports may change. You may, if you're the CFO of an organization, as an example, then automatically you will think differently, right? Because अब आपको पता है कि आपका डेटा काफी सिक्योर है, आपके chances of frauds कम है, तो you will rely on a lot of other things. You will be able to devote your time into more of strategic information rather than getting into only the data part. So that's one thing. Again, smart contracting अगर आपने implement करी है अपने area में, आपके organization में, तो आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि अच्छा ठीक है, is this जो मैंने triggers डाले थे, is this working in the right manner? Right? If you're in an insurance industry and you would want to implement it, then you need to see whether the blockchain is actually covering from the time you've taken the product, or you've taken an insurance from a client perspective till the time a settlement is done. Is everything in the thing covered or not covered? Right? The people move their KYC processes as an example to blockchain. So हो सकता है अगर आप किसी बैंक में जाओ तो आपका केवाईसी प्रोसेस चेंज हो जाए, बिकॉज उस बैंक ने केवाईसी वो कर दिया. पहले आपको मनी शायद 5 दिन में आता था, अब you may get it in a day or 2 days maximum, depending on which country where you're doing it. Again, if there are a lot of I would say anti-money laundering kind of cases happening within your industry, then definitely it helps to resolve that also, because AML checks can be done better if you're in implementing blockchain and stuff like that. So there will be various impacts that will be there, because finance, as I say, touches everything. Finance is not limited to only creating entries, and as CAs we are working across in every area. If I talk about myself, I started my career in an asset management company, which is Unit Trust of India, a mutual fund company. While when I moved out, I was into risk and compliance, right? I was heading the risk and compliance for Royal Bank of Scotland, which was totally varied from where I started as an accounting person to a risk and compliance person. So as a CA, you will be in multiple segments, multiple areas, and blockchain will impact you differently. But yes, you need to know that if you are receptible to the technology, you understand the basics of the technology, then definitely whatever role you play as a finance person, you will be able to understand it and move forward. Yes, depending on what you're doing, you will need to put in that extra effort to understand. थोड़ा और पढ़ना पड़ेगा कि कब implement किया था, क्या changes आए थे, कैसे हो रहा है, right? या आप खुद employee हो तो आप उसमें अपने inputs दे सकते हो कि ठीक है, आप ये blockchain डाल रहे हो हमारे एरिया में, तो हमें इस चीज को कवर करना चाहिए, या ये possibilities of frauds हैं, इनको कवर करके चलना चाहिए. या आप अगर MIS रिपोर्टिंग करते हो या कुछ सबमिशंस करते हो गवर्नमेंट्स को या रेगुलेटर्स को, तो आप उसमें आप कॉन्फिडेंट हो सकते हो कि अगर आपका ब्लॉकचेन का डेटा है, then it's more trustworthy, it is more so everything is there. But yes, as we've always been saying, that because blockchain came to know more because of the financial sector, then definitely financial sector has been the first place where it has taken the faster moves in terms of changing also. So that's what is the impact. I just took a case of a manufacturing segment because it's easier to explain and understand, because we all understand that very easily. So if the main three things where normally manufacturing companies look at in implementing blockchain is one, as I said, smart contracts, warranty management, and supply chain tracking and tracing. Right? These are three major areas because these are very, very important for them. A lot of challenges are faced at this point in time by the manufacturing people because if you've given a warranty to a product, right, and people are wrongly using that warranty, or if it is say for example, as we say, tracking, as we said, forfeits, for counterfeits happening of your products while you issued it. So that is very wrong from a brand perspective. Your image falls down. So you actually shipped a prop you know a I would say an authentic product, a genuine product, but in the supply chain somewhere there was some kind of an issue, and that product gets changed with a counterfeit, and people get a counterfeit product. And this is important in high value items, right? Tracking and tracing it is very important. As I said, distilleries require it a lot because the taste, the smell, the kind of experience your product or your brand carries can't be counterfeited or should not be counterfeited, right? That's important. Smart contracting, as I always said, it helps in terms of efficiency. Your turnaround time reduces, your number of people that you need to have contracts initiated and stuff reduces, paperwork reduces because a lot of stuff is already on the blockchain, and that chain is quite secure, so nobody can kind of dwell upon it. So that's like the major stuff around blockchain. A lot of basics around it. I'm sure it's going to be helpful. I'm just going to share some fascinating facts, because a lot of this, when I read, I was really surprised to know that I talked about IBM as an example. So if I say that the amount that IBM is invested in its blockchain powered stuff is more than $200 billion. Imagine the kind of investment organizations are doing, on blockchain. If I have to talk about three countries like Switzerland, Gibraltar, and Malta, these are the top three, cryptocurrency friendly and blockchain empowered countries, we can say, in the world today, even. So there are instances where people say that I've not validated that, but I've heard that you can trade, or you can use your cryptocurrency in these countries quite easily, like normal money. That's what I've heard. I've not validated, so I'll just put that remark there. But yes, these are the three countries that are using it. And definitely, one, the pandemic, but otherwise also blockchain is looking to reduce a lot of infrastructure cost in the banking industry, because you will not need so many banks, because people will not physically go to the bank, right? That's what is expected. Um, if I have to just take a stat when blockchain was really starting, so the financial sector itself in 2018, where it was the first year practically of increasing or getting into blockchain, they spend around $552 million across the world. That's where we are. From an India perspective, yes, Telangana is supposed to set up, it has proposed that it wants to be the first blockchain district. And we know that Hyderabad has always been a tech friendly kind of a space. And, it has already started. We are seeing a lot of, uh, startups which have started out from that area, and we will see. I'm not going to go through all of this, so I think that's it for me. I hope this should be helpful for you all in terms of understanding blockchain. Any questions that you may have?
Yeah, just a second, ma'am. We are having some of the questions.
Oh, actually, we have many questions, but due to this, everybody is putting their name to all are hide. All the question has been hide. So I request everyone, if anybody have any question, one is from Kavita. She's asking, Ruchi, you explained its importance for audit. How it will be useful for a professional working in the sector of adopting blockchain?
Yeah, so thanks. Kavita, I think I did explain that, but I think I'll be happy because I know why. Sorry. So, Kavita, I was just mentioning that as professionals, if I talk about myself, when we moved out, we were in in Amex, if I could say, or in RBS, we are saying we are looking to upgrade our processes, right? And we were moving on to robotic processes. And similarly, if I talk of if you've been working in a manufacturing industry, as I said, it could be that your contracts would be moving on to smart contract, right? Or you it could be that you're in adopting various other aspects or that we've talked about, and your role in that will be to understand whether this adoption or this change is, if you're a finance person, as an example, working in the finance department of the organization, and the organization is implementing smart contracting, then you need to see whether all of that coming within your books of accounts, are they correct, are they right, are they really helpful, and various other things. So the role that you will play will depend on whether you're actually part of the team implementing and supporting it, or are you just seeing the results out of it. So net outcome coming to your books of accounts, is that the role you're playing, or are you part of the implementation team? So accordingly you will have to kind of play your role.
Yes,
I hope that helps answer. Yeah.
yes. Badri Narayan ji is asking, so many hack reported even on blockchain, but I don't think so. I think there was only one case, once or twice,
Yeah.
two cases were there.
Right. So blockchain being a very secure platform, as I've been always saying, you will not see many, frauds or hacks reported against it. It could be that what you're seeing is more about the fluctuation in the cryptocurrency rates that have happened in the last, period, but not frauds, I would say. Blockchain,
No, no,
very rarely do you hear anything like a fraud or a hack.
see, they are doing into the cryptocurrency, but it's
Right.
not like that ki you are doing with the blockchain. Blockchain and cryptocurrency both are the different concept. Means if you have the cryptocurrency, they can hack your cryptocurrency. It's not like then it's the fault in the blockchain. Okay. Next, another queries. How blockchain can be used in higher education industry, like on terms of research publication.
So, Nilakshi, I think I would like to mention that, as we've said, the biggest benefit of a blockchain is about the authenticity and the security. So, if somebody has written a research paper, the biggest challenge that people always face is that if that's used, or people kind of use your research and publish by their own name, but if you've actually registered on a blockchain, then it is against your own name, and nobody will be able to kind of use that, or I would say counterfeit it, or publish it in their own names. So that's the part from a research perspective. Even if you're referring to somebody's information during your research, then it will highlight and say that yes, some of your conclusions are based on the inputs that you've used based on XYZ's research paper. So it will differentiate about what your work is while the work done by some other expert is. And that's how you've consolidated and included it in your own documentation.
Okay, let's move some fast because many queries now there. Abhishek
Okay.
ji, I will answer on this question whether the cryptocurrency is the legal format or
Legal.
not in India. It's on Tuesday. It's my lecture is there on Tuesday. Either the cryptocurrency, then their types, trading, and the taxability in the India. So that we will discuss. And the next is Jatin Kapoor ji.
What is the
What is
regulatory status of contacts through blockchain and its validity in court of law? No. So yeah, smart contracts are now being very
yes?
widely accepted, and they have the same validity in the law court of law. As you can say, for whatever jurisdiction you want to kind of use it, it will be applicable.
Okay. Somebody is asking.
When blockchain is implemented in accounting system.
So blockchain, Ganesh, it is already available. It is up to people to kind of use it in their accounting system. So those softwares, platforms are available. Organizations can move their accounting to blockchain, but it's about implementation. It's something like when you had SAP or ERP, everything was available. It's just that how do you kind of use it?
We have Shrishti Sarsangi. What if all the members encrypt the data but all do not approve of it? Then will it be a part of the blockchain because the data becomes a part of the blockchain only when everyone has encrypted it?
So, Srishti, as we said, any data that comes to the network has to be approved. That's required. It's not like कि हम अगर काम नहीं करेंगे तो काम नहीं होगा. It's not like that. So definitely all people on the network have to approve it, or whatever percentage that you've put in has to be done. इसमें कोई रूसने वाली बात नहीं है कि सब गुस्सा होके बैठ गए कि मैं नहीं काम करूंगा. तो ऐसा नहीं होता है. काम तो करना पड़ेगा और अप्रूव ही होगा तभी हो जाएगा.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Next, we
With
have
this,
Swapnil Sudhanshu. Can India adopt blockchain technology successfully even if happens to ban cryptocurrency?
I
with
think
the
one part of it will be answered in Sir's Vivekji's session on Tuesday about cryptocurrency legality and the others. But definitely, I think the linkage that you're trying to make here, Swapnil, is not fully correct because, as we said, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology are two different things. Blockchain technology can also be implemented in various other industries and sectors, and which is still even now being implemented. So India has already implemented a lot of blockchain platforms already.
even Ruchiji, one thing I want to add, even we can add it into the GST technology. Even
Yes,
also the problem we are facing into the income tax side, we can also do it.
yes,
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
agree, fully agree, Vivekji.
Next, we have Saurabh Chokra. How existing processes are out of blockchain, like for stock market. Could you please explain difference in stock market operations of India and Australia?
That's
So
a separate question.
So I think the operations don't change. It's more of the data records that is maintained that's there. And again, I've not seen really see what is blockchain doing. Blockchain is ensuring that a transaction that goes through on your stock market. So Saurabh, if you're the seller and I'm the buyer of a stock, in today's time in India, it is still possible that when the delivery date comes, you may say no, you're not selling because you don't have the stock, right? Again, that's minimized over the period, but yes, that's still a possibility. If you're in blockchain, I will not enter into this transaction till the time the blockchain confirms yes, Saurabh has those shares. It will only execute the transaction when it will see that Saurabh has X number of shares and Saurabh is selling the shares and Ruchi is buying the shares. So I think that's where the difference is. That validation happens before the transaction is really executed to that, and it ensures that that transaction will go through and not stop anymore.
Next, we have Om Prakash Sharma. Ma'am, in simple terms, blockchain is an app that provides platform to capture data of varied kind of transaction, which can't be altered but can be viewed as public network to all within the network. Question.
No, so blockchain is like, you can say blockchain is not an app, but blockchain is a technology. So, for example, if I have to say internet is a technology, but you can access internet through Google Chrome, you can access it to Firefox, you can have access it to various other things. So, your applications or the front face could be anything depending on the use that you're kind of going to do. So, if you're going to do it for, say, example, a healthcare industry, you may use the platform called Hyperledger. While if you're doing it for, say, example, for a banking industry, you may use the IBM blockchain as a platform. So blockchain is only a technology which is ensuring that once that is written, your data remains secure and transparent.
Next, we have Shyamji. What will be professional opportunity for our profession?
So Shamji, here I would like to say is that because we understand finance the best, if we gain knowledge in terms of technology around it, we can be the people who can help organizations implement their financial data, financial information. So a lot of our CAs, uh, members, our own colleagues are already working as support to either the government or to other organizations where they are helping them implement blockchain technology within their own systems. So they become
Even
the intermediary.
even
Yeah.
I can say this thing. It's not like that. Ki we have to learn the coding. We
Yes.
as a chartered accountant, we have many opportunities are there, means many contacts are there. Even if you develop something in the finance, if you are implementing the finance, so one thing I want to share with all of you, might be Ruchi ji have already shared the process. Developer is doing only 20%. That another things have to do the professionals like chartered accountant or the other professionals that we have to see. So many professional opportunities are there, Shamji. Oh, I
So
think
it
Prachi is
says,
on.
yeah. So I think the question is, will blockchain and audit will audit in blockchain era be treated as system audit? Yeah,
Yes,
it
yes.
is kind of a system audit only because you're doing an audit of a process which is on a platform, on an automated platform.
Yes.
I think we already answered this question
Okay.
for Ganesh.
Just let me see another question.
We are using such modules. We are using such modules where only the authorized persons can modify the content and others cannot. Yeah, so there are systems that are used, but again, Anuj, I would just like to know whether the background technology used is blockchain or not. It could be that you have already started using it within your organizations. Uh, it could be. So yours, it is not a question; it's a statement. So I think I'll agree with that. How blockchain is being used in our day-to-day life. Okay, so Manoj, I think while you cover your certification course, you will see a lot of things coming up, but just simple ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will not like to spill the beans, as I say, for the future sessions. But
Yes,
yes, you
you
will
have to
understand.
wait. Satish ji, you have to wait.
Yes, Satish ji, this is on Tuesday.
You have to wait.
I think we covered this question.
Okay.
Australia, India. Isn't the confidential data will be made public to those on the network?
No, no.
No, so confidential data is confidential data. It will be only shared with people who are relevant to get that information. It can't be made public. Can you please suggest on learning on implementing, assisting clients in incorporating blockchain as they are emitted? I think you're already doing a certification course. Today is just the first day. You've just got the initial flavor. ये तो मतलब if I have to say आज तो trailer था picture का तो अभी तो picture
Exactly.
बाकी है अभी तो picture बाकी है
even,
शुरू ही हुई
even
है.
even Vipsha, she is the speaker on the CA Sansaar. So I am just
Okay.
asking you, आपके जब आप उसकी सेशन लेते हैं आप इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन का, देन इट्स पॉसिबल कि एक ही दिन में हमें सारी उसकी डबल टीटी एंड एवरीथिंग वी लर्न इन फर्स्ट डे. तो लेट्स वेट फॉर 4-5 days. You will learn a lot.
Yes.
काफी कुछ है सीखने के लिए.
Covered. Already covered. Question.
I request all of you, please don't write again and again. Please, it's my request to all of you.
How about the fact that blockchain can be attacked like etc? So see, blockchain is a
Very
very
simple.
secure thing, and I'm sure your sessions in future, like the next 4 days session, will capture a lot of such things in terms of creating and the controls around it and stuff. So wait for those days to come. Decentralized autonomous organization smart contract based on Ethereum was hacked and a lot of money was taken out. So we need tight regulations. See, any technology or anything that comes in definitely needs regulations because unless and until there is lots and lots of work that's going across at a very global level where people are trying to make global regulations and laws for this because cryptocurrency, as you know, is not something which is India. It is an international thing, so that really needs a lot of regulations. What would happen if all members are not approving the change? So see, as I said, one, it is not it will not happen that people will not approve. The members will approve it because it's a business, right? If I have to just differently put it, if you're into a business and you have a sales business, right? So ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना कि आपके sales team sales करने से मना कर देगी, right? So they will sell. It is
Yes,
just
yes.
that the percentage will differ. So same thing here. It is not as we said. You could have approved keep to 75% approval chalega, yes, 85% chalega. Satish, question for Tuesday. This will get carried
Yes.
over to Tuesday. Already done. Already done. This question is already done, sir. There is a technical gap. We have gone through apparent understanding. What is the technical base of blockchain? On what language it is based? Example. Okay, so I think we've just, as we said, Om Prakash ji, this is only the first day. We've just got the basics. You still have to work for 4 more days to get your certification, and you will learn everything.
Yes, one thing I want to tell you, we have asked a question whether the blockchain will change the global economy. So we have received
Yes.
more than 800 answers, and more than 85% people are saying yes. Only
Yes.
1% are saying no, and 14% are saying no idea. So it's the good thing.
So I think this also we answered. Anup ji ka question already covered tha.
Yes, yes.
Again, this is Tuesday's question. Will blockchain be integrated with existing ERP system, or there is going to be a new ERP system? No, these, as we said, these blockchains are more like independent ones. You can integrate it with the system, but again, it all depends on how your organization is, what ERP you're using and stuff. But yes, this possibility is there, is what I mean. And that is why organizations are only implementing parts and parts. Only smart contract kar liya ya ye kar liya. So that's how it is.
One of our very senior member, Hitesh Merchant ji, he's from Mumbai, and he is asking. Uh, I believe they are implementing SAP to consolidate its accounting across 165 branches, 5 regional council and head office. Hiteshji, when I did the certificate course of blockchain from the ICI, at that time, my this one was presentation was on the why not ICI should adopt the blockchain. And at that time, I have also did the presentation in our team. Ki ICI should also adopt this one. So it's the best case for ICI itself also कि ICI को भी blockchain adopt करना चाहिए. It's a very very
बिल्कुल
good
करना
case.
चाहिए. Very good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're right. Confidence index abnormally. Yes, it's a statement, so we take it. Yes, we agree.
Okay.
So it will increase definitely. Yes, blockchain can contain or non-financial. It can be anything. All
Yes,
any kind of stuff can be on blockchain.
yes. This was the question of Hitesh ji. Can ICI implement blockchain? Yes, definitely. No
It
issue
should. It
here.
should.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Seeing SAP and other platforms or technology which eliminates chances of deletion of data. Why blockchain is superior to such apps? So yes, Om Prakash ji, that's what we are saying, that blockchain is a very secure system. So when you implement it, actually you will see. And as we said, today is just the first day. A lot of your
Yes,
questions like this will get answered in the next 4 days that you will see. आज तो आपको सिर्फ फ्लेवर मिला है. आज
yes,
असली डिश
exactly.
तो आप अभी खाएंगे सर.
Exactly, exactly. We'll
Yes.
wait for Tuesday. Yes, yes.
Yes. Again, Tuesday, cryptocurrency replaced traditional currency.
Yes, I think now same things are coming, and some
Yes.
future questions are there. So it's really, really wonderful, Ruchi ji. for introducing the blockchain in a very, very simple way. And really everybody is appreciating. These were only queries. Appreciation जो आपके आ रहे हैं तो मैंने तो उनको लिया नहीं. It's great thing. And tomorrow we have another session. Tomorrow again at 6:30. So be there again with the very, very renowned faculty. And the second day, then on Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, 5 days course is there. So we'll also, if you have any queries, so you can write into the comment box. Ruchi ji ne apni mail ID bhi di hai. You can also ask her. And even Ruchi ji, many members are asking for your PPT. If it's possible, you can share with us so that we can upload it into the this one CA Sansaar Telegram channel. So my sincere thanks. Now I request Prachi ji to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you, CA Ruchi Maheshwari ji and CA Vivek Khurana ji for giving your valuable time to us and for very beautiful presentation. We have learned lots of things today and it was a great session and a very good start for this course. So thank you so much, ma'am and sir.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you,
It
ma'am.
was really a pleasure to kind of interact. And as I said, it's just a course where you're starting today. So you have 4 days and you will have lots of learning. It's a great platform or a great a topic to learn about. So, give your bit and you will really see the difference in your practical lives also when you kind of implement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank